What's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. One of the most frustrating things when diving into DMZ is losing access or not having access to your insured weapon slot, because obviously that's the weapon that you can build any way you want or choose any weapon that you want and go in and give yourself the best possible advantage. And when you do lose access to this, you just stare at a cooldown timer. If you have that first slot, it's only 2 hours, second slot's 4 hours, and that final one is 6 hours. But regardless, trying to get that weapon back as soon as possible can be top priority. So in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the fastest way to actually reduce that cooldown time. In most cases, you'll actually be able to do this in a single match. But before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content anytime or find this video helpful in any way, make sure to show your support for the channel by going down below and smashing that like button. Let's go ahead and throw an easy goal of 100 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys would like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, make sure to hit that subscribe button onto that notification bell so we don't miss you in future videos. Alright, so like I said, we have access to 3 different slots. Majority of you will only have access to that first slot because the second one isn't unlocked until you completed tier 3 on all 3 factions. So like I was saying before, losing access to that slot is very frustrating, especially if you only have one available to you. But the most important thing here is that you can actually reduce that timer fairly quickly, which is what we're talking about today. Now, realistically, the only slot that you're going to be able to 100% cooldown in a single match is more than likely going to be the first one, but this method will also help you with those longer cooldown timers from the second and third slots. As long as you are following this method, you should almost always have access to one of your insured weapon slots, unless, of course, you only have that first one. Now, the first one, again, is only a 2-hour cooldown, so this is the one you're most realistically going to be able to do in a single match. And the way to go about this is obviously exfilling with money. You can obviously choose to go to those dead drop locations and dead drop money to reduce the cooldown timer as well, but I didn't actually do that, and I found that exfilling with the amount of money that I know I needed was a much easier solution. So if you guys haven't figured out or didn't know by now, every $20,000 that you exfil with will reduce your cooldown timer by 30 minutes. So if you have a 2-hour cooldown timer on your insured weapon slot, you would obviously just need to multiply that 20,000 by 4 to exfil with that amount in order to actually completely reduce that cooldown. So you would need 80,000 when you're exfilling to get a 2-hour cooldown timer. Now you obviously are going to be in a match, so that's going to cool down some of the timer as well. So let's say, for example, your match is 30 minutes long. You are actually able to exfil with 60,000 and be able to cool down your weapon pretty much 100% as long as you stayed through the entirety of the match. Having a half hour or so in a match mixed with the 60,000 in cash being exfilled, you're going to be able to cool down 2 hours in a single match. Now, the next step in the process is really how are you going to go about getting this amount of money and exfilling safely without any issue. Now, my best recommendation for this, and the thing that is my go-to, is going to be using the Destroy Supplies contract. This is going to take you to 2 different bomb sites, which you're going to plant the bomb, have them explode, and once both of those explode and the contract is finished, you will receive a little bit of money, of course, which is going to help you on the journey you're on, but it will also reveal nearby safes. I find that it will at least reveal 2 safes typically, but it will also reveal up to 5. You're going to need a few in order to actually get the amount of money that you're looking for. It just kind of depends on your RNG of what you find in the safes. So I found that getting at least 3 safes was the secret to at least having 60+ thousand. And if you are obviously in a match where you're spending half an hour, you're only going to really need to look for that 60,000 in order to exfil with it, to reduce the cooldown time 100%. Now, in my run, I was able to go visit 4 safes, which allowed me to actually exfil with over 100,000. And I think I got somewhere around a 2-hour and 44-minute cooldown, which would be really useful for something like the second or even third slot. But obviously, if you have multiple slots cooling down at the same time, you will be able to do this to cool down both slots simultaneously. That's one of the main benefits. If you have a couple of bad runs and lose more than one weapon slot, you can actually do this to cool down the slots at the same time, or at least reduce them pretty quickly. Now, you can choose to do this solo, which I was doing, or you can even do it in a squad. You just want to make sure if you're the one trying to cool down your weapon slot, or if everybody's trying to cool down a weapon slot, you're going to want to make sure everybody has the same amount or equal amounts of money, or at least the amount of money that they need when they exfil, because this is going to be based on your individual exfil amount and not your squad. So you're going to want to make sure if you're the one trying to basically cool down your weapon slot, or if everybody's trying to cool it down, you might want to kind of share the money evenly, or maybe just take turns exfilling with a ton of cash. Now, when I'm sitting on a ton of money, it's looking to cool down my weapon slot, or even just try to exfil with a bunch of money for a mission, I find the best and safest way to do so is to find a rescue hostage contract once I have the amount of money that I'm looking for. The reason I go for the rescue hostage contract is they're pretty simple for the most part, and usually they do not take very long, but it also allows you to not only earn a little bit more money if you're just looking for a little extra, but it will also allow you to exfil with the hostage that you rescue, allowing you to basically exfil out of the map safely and under the radar from the other players. This can be extremely helpful, as going to the normal exfil sites are what most players are going to be doing, trying to get out of the map. So this can reduce your odds of dying by quite a bit and overall make the experience a lot smoother. Now, this is my go-to method on the fastest way to cool down your insured weapon slots, so hopefully it will help you guys on your journey, and hopefully these tips and tricks will just make this a little bit easier for you in general. That's going to wrap things up for us here. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support in the channel, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.